Marijuana, one of the biggest controversies on planet Earth as of today. Hi, I'm Mr. X, and I'm here to discuss with you why this should not be that big of a problem. Marijuana, cannabis, pot, Mary Jane, the chronic, green beans, however you want to phrase it, it all comes from one source: the hemp plant. Hemp is a durable, fibrous substance that could replace cotton in 5 to 10 years. Clothing would be cheaper and more mass-produced than anything else. Cotton shrinks. Hemp does not. Hemp also lasts longer. So why hasn't it been used before? I'll tell you why. Because of the side product, marijuana, pot, a classified illegal substance, or narcotic, drug, however you want to phrase it. But I have to wonder, why is it classified as such? Marijuana is a plant. Cannabis is a plant. Pot is a plant. They're all three of these are the same thing. Crystal meth, you gotta cook it. Crack, you gotta cook it. Acid, you gotta cook it. I have never seen anybody able to walk up to a plant in the middle of the street and go into an acid fit. No. Marijuana should not be classified as an illegal drug. Hell, it shouldn't even be classified as illegal. There has been case studies showing that this plant helps autism, Alzheimer's, and memory problems. And I don't mean just Alzheimer's, I mean general memory problems. There was a kid, he was dying. Day by day, he was wasting away. His parents said that the only thing he ate was peanut butter for 4 freaking years. They finally prescribed him a little bit of marijuana and a brownie. A brownie. Simple little chocolate device about yay big. Also known as a mooncake at this point. Within months, this kid was back up to normal weight for kids his age, and he was talking. He was making noises. He was interacting with those around him. And yet it's illegal. A plant that helped a little boy live was illegal. Is illegal. Tell me there's not something wrong in their heads with that one. But no, our government just does not seem to care. I remember hearing a story about an old woman. Couldn't even remember her own son. Woke up every morning and asked where her husband was, only to learn every day that her husband had died. She had Alzheimer's. One of her children finally came up with the idea, hey, let's give mom some marijuana. So they did it for a week. They gave her marijuana every morning as a wake and bake. And every night before she went to bed, and every afternoon. And her memory came back. It was slow, but she started remembering her son's names. Her husband was dead. She didn't have to go through that pain every day. And yet it is an illegal substance. I'm sorry, I've got to quote Cat Williams on this one. And Mr. Williams, you are a genius. Marijuana is a legal substance, yet aspirin's perfectly legal. Yet you take 13 motherfucking aspirin and that'll be your last headache. Nobody has ever overdosed on pot. I don't care what this case study says. To overdose on pot, you literally have to smoke 15 pounds in less than 30 minutes. 15 pounds of marijuana. You can't put that much in your system in 3 days, yet less 30 minutes. And yet that's what it would take to shut down your brain function enough to die. People say we need to change, and yet we don't. We go on with the status quo day after day after day. It never changes, it never stops, we never surrender, we always quit. It just doesn't work. And people are now saying that marijuana causes mental disease. Bullshit. This is just another way for y'all to try to keep this plant out of American hands. It's too late. It's already here. As a matter of fact, marijuana arrests account for 60% of the jail population. And yet every year, every 4 years, you hear a president stand up and say, I'm going to reduce the crowding in our prison systems and lower your taxes. Ah! If they would make marijuana illegal, they could tax it. You tax marijuana, our economy will come back up, our prison systems will become undercrowded again. Hell, we'll have to demolish prison systems because we won't need them. I'm not saying make every drug legal. Meth, crack, acid, they all belong in those categories. Shrooms? Hell yeah, it should be illegal. But marijuana does not hurt anyone. Ever. I don't care who you heard it from. I don't care how you heard it. Look into it. Do the research like I have done. Marijuana cures. It is a medication ritually prescribed to cancer patients. People who know the worst amount of pains on earth. And yet they won't make it legal. Sure, it's medically legal in California. But guess what, folks? There's a farm. There's a place you have to go and register your farm as a marijuana growing facility. So let's say you go register yourself. You spend 4 months painstakingly growing this plant, thinking it'll turn my life around, it'll make my farm great, and I won't have so many bills, and I'll be able to pay it all off. And 2 weeks before you go to harvest, the FBI shows up on your front lawn and takes everything. Because you are forced or required to register, so they know exactly where you're at. And if you think this won't happen, think again. Look up the laws. It's a state law that it's legal, not federal. Federal government still has every right to come in and take everything you've worked so hard for. Everything you poured your soul into, they still have every right to come in and take. Hemp, marijuana, cannabis, pot, Mary Jane, the bud, the chronic, the leaf, the jays. I don't care what you call it. It's a plant. It can be grown in your backyard. And it's something that should be legal in the United States of America. If you disagree with me, discuss it. This is Mr. X signing out.